Excellency, the Nigerian Competitiveness Council did a survey, and the first report came out 2017 for all the 36 states, which is laudable. He identified the fact that Borno State made progress in the area of water services management, state finance, and also some remarkable steps in terms of permits for businesses, but also identified challenges with security and institutions. Looking at this report, what's your reaction to this?
It gives me a lot of joy that the greatest fallout from that report is the renewed interest and confidence in Borno by the Nigerian public. Because the very existence, the essence of the very existence of the government is to provide security to lives and properties. We are gradually coming out of what we call our locust years. And there is renewed interest, there is renewed drive by outside investors in the Borno project. But because we believe that there is a direct correlation between poverty and violence, and according to the World Bank, the northeast sub-region of Nigeria, the Republic of Niger, the Republic of Chad, and northeastern Cameroon plus the Darfur region of Sudan were adjudged to be some of the poorest places on earth. Hence the emergence of militant organizations like the Janjaweed militia and the Boko Haram in our own part of the world. So we are taking a holistic approach. Holistic in the sense that you have to take measures to address issues of youth restiveness. And how do you go about it? By creating jobs, by giving them hope for a better tomorrow. And once you create jobs, once you engage the youth, this madness is going to evaporate. So when it comes to investment from outside investors, we really want to drive the process. Subsequently, we'll start clamoring for PPP. But for now, it might interest you to know that we are setting up about 14 different industrial lines. And Borno is the second largest state in Nigeria in terms of landmass after Niger State. And it's one state that is the most strategically located in the entire federation. We are sharing contiguous borders with 3 nations, Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. And with my banking background, I can tell you with all sense of modesty that at a point in time, the branch of the bank I was pretending to was the highest cash processing unit of a bank in the West African sub-region. Not in Onitsha, not in Apapa, not in Kano, but in Maiduguri. And that goes to show, that bears testimony to the volume of business activities in Borno and the Northeast as a whole. The most important road network in Nigeria is not the Lagos-Badagry road. Certainly not. It's not the Sule-Kankar road that leads to Niger in Jigawa State. The most important road in Nigeria, which I believe Alhaji Dangote can give testimony to, is Maiduguri-Dikwagan-Borungala road. So I believe opportunities abound and hope springs eternal from the hearts of men. We believe that with the resilience of our people, with the drive and passion of our government, and people that have Borno at heart, like the chairman of the Aliko Dangote Foundation, we are going to drive the process. And of course, education. Because without investments in education, we might as well forget about the future. In Africa, we miss the agricultural age. We miss the industrial age. Now we are in the post-industrial knowledge-driven age. Elon Musk is talking about constricting the journey from London to New York to 31 minutes. People are talking of artificial intelligence. People are talking of genetics engineering, of robotics technology. People are talking about going to the Mars. Unfortunately, some of the topical issues in Nigeria are so mundane, so embarrassingly obsolete that one may feel shy of even mentioning them. So we are investing heavily in education, especially in digital education, because from the Boko Haram, we harvested, sadly too, a total number of 54,911 widows and 53,211 orphans. And these are the official figures as per the recovery and peace building assessment conducted by the World Bank in partnership with the European Union and the Presidency. The real figures might be even 2 times the figures I have quoted. But as I said earlier, hope springs eternal from the hearts of men. And the word for crisis in the Chinese language is wei des. Wei stands for danger, and des for opportunity. As terrible as our situation was, as challenging as the state of affairs in Borno is, I believe it also affords us the opportunity to engineer our society into a better place. We are building state-of-the-art educational facilities. Even the small school that you will see tomorrow, we are using digital technology to drive the process. All the classrooms are air-conditioned, because the children of the poor must have access to best educational facilities that we could offer. And believe me, while you insist on excellence, you might end up getting it. We are building 40 mega schools. We have to provide a platform for the sons of the poor to have a foothold in the workstation of the 21st century, and education is the only tool we have. So believe me, in the coming months and weeks, we'll start the real Borno Renaissance project, and the whole world will be surprised by what we are going to reveal to the world.
Leading a state post-insurgency is not an easy task. Looking at what you've done is remarkable: rehabilitation, resettlement, and reconstruction. We'd like to know first, what is the total cost of the insurgency to the state in terms of economic, social, and cultural terms? And finally, what are the lessons you've learned in this leading process? Because we know that people like the Afghan president and others have gone through this kind of challenge. And what would be your advice to your eventual successor based on what you've laid as legacies?
Well, as per the cost to the state, it will be self-serving for me to put a figure. But as per the recovery and peace building assessment conducted by the World Bank in partnership with the European Union and the Presidency, a total of $9.6 billion worth of damages were inflicted by the Boko Haram in the northeast sub-region. Sadly, too, Borno was the epicenter of the crisis, and in Borno, we incurred losses up to the tune of $5.6 billion. A total of 958,453 units of houses, making up 30% of the total stock of housing in the state, were destroyed. 5,600 classrooms in 512 primary schools, 38 high schools, and 2 tertiary institutions of learning were destroyed. 720 watering points, boreholes, motorized boreholes, hand pumps, wells were destroyed by so many ecosystems, electrical substations. It's a little bit mind-numbing and depressing for one to be quoting those figures, but had actually committed to memory all the statistics. But it's not the statistics that count. It's not the statistics that matters. How you can build the required resilience. How you can be a merchant of peace, a merchant of hope. To the people of Borno, there is nothing as dehumanizing as for a once proud people to be reduced to the status of beggars. There is nothing as dehumanizing as insecurity and poverty. compounded by deliberate neglect by the center. At a point in time, the government at the center was of the perception that the whole Boko Haram was a charade, was manufactured by the northern elites to embarrass the federal government. But we have crossed a lot of rivers. Some of the benefits that I learned was that it helped us in building this grit, that persistence, because of the 5 P's of success: patience, persistence, perseverance, and prayers. Were able to weather the storm. And as the leader, sometimes one may not even sleep for the whole night. But people look up to you for inspiration, for guidance, for support, for leadership. In spite of the heavy burden you are carrying on your heart, you will still come out with a smile. You cannot walk in a stoop fashion, no. You have to walk with your head held high, so that it will inspire confidence in the people. So it wasn't a jolly good ride. It was a very tough ride. It's not easy for 7 years. You wake up every morning with trepidation, with fear. There was a time when the Boko Haram literally, they nearly overran the government house here in Maiduguri. There was a time, I told you earlier on, Maiduguri was under siege. The airport was closed down. Maiduguri-Biu Road, nobody could go beyond Delwa. Maiduguri-Bama Road, Konduga was the end of Nigeria. Maiduguri-Baga Road, Tungushe was the end of our country. Maiduguri-Gambarungala Road, Ngom was the end of Nigeria. From Ngom, from Mapao upward was part of the caliphate, so-called caliphate, the satanic caliphate. So that was how bad things were. We're having 27 local governments in the state. At a point in time, to varying degrees, nearly 20 to 22 were under the sovereignty of the Boko Haram. Maiduguri was bulging at its seams with IDPs. Every imaginable space. For 2 years, schools were under lock and key. Our kids could not go to school because the school facilities were used to host internally displaced persons. Worst of all, we had to scamper all over the place to feed the IDPs, because the then federal government was playing politics. This is why we are eternally indebted, we are eternally grateful to the likes of Alhaji Dangote, who rose above politics, who do not care about politics but about the welfare of the people. In those locust years, as I told you, there was a time Alhaji Dangote gave us 240 trucks of foodstuff, of assorted foodstuff that bailed us out of the woods. I hope and pray that I will not bequeath to my successor a state in crisis. We have reached, they are on their death cross. Borno is very large. We might have hiccups. Just on Salah Day, they killed some folks in Damboa. We may still suffer some casualties, but by and large, they have been contained. And we believe that before the year runs out, this madness will finally come to an end. You know, in an asymmetric warfare, you do not determine how things will move, because the insurgents that determine where they will strike and when they will strike. Sometimes if you get actionable, proactive intelligence, then you might strike ahead of time. But it shall be well. It shall be well.